All right, welcome back to Getting Sober, again. My name is Jay, and today we're going to talk about how to survive your first sober summer. But first, if you care about your own sobriety journey as much as we do, we have hundreds of videos on the topics of sobriety and self-improvement. So make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. All right, let's get started. So it is officially summer, and along with summer comes a whole new set of seasonal drinking associations. Now in the fall, we think about bonfires and flannels and maybe pumpkin ales. And in the winter, we think about maybe having a glass of wine by the fireplace. And summer is no different. From the beach to the pool to the backyard barbecues to the vacations and the holidays or working in the yard or in the garden and having a cold one to cool off, summer is here and it's time to practice doing it all without a drink in our hands. So let's ask the community, is this your first sober summer? And if it's not your first sober summer, what are your pro tips to make it through your first sober summer? Comment down below. And I have to think that ever since we were kids, we were programmed to think that summertime is what? Party time, right? 3 months of doing whatever we want, whenever we want. But one major thing that we need to remember is we don't need to drink to have a good time. We don't need a beer or a margarita to enjoy the sun. Just like you didn't need a drink to enjoy the sun when you were a kid, right? Back when we played games and rode our bikes and hung out in the backyard, played video games and listened to terrible music and ate even worse food. And we did all of that without alcohol. Now they say that you don't stop playing because you get old. You get old because you stop playing. So what's our excuse for not playing more? It's summer, the weather is beautiful, the birds are singing, the flowers are in bloom. There's more activities and more things to do. There's more hobbies now than ever before in human history. And I was just saying that the other day to somebody that when I was a kid, there was basically 3 to 4 sports. There was Frisbee, there's whatever these things are, and there was your imagination. Sometimes all you had was a stick. There wasn't even a Dick's Sporting Goods. There wasn't even a Walmart when I was a kid. There was just a Kmart, and there was another Kmart that went out of business. But now you can pick up a new hobby every weekend. I used to play tennis when I was a kid, and there used to be tennis, badminton, and racquetball. But now there's pickleball, there's paddle, and there's ping pong. There used to be just regular golf. Now there's disc golf. There used to be just canoeing, but now there's paddle boarding, wakeboarding, kayaking. You can rent jet skis. You don't even have to buy a jet ski. You could just rent whatever you want. You can rent a boat. There's just so much more to do now than there used to be. And it's obviously easier to visit friends and family, to take those road trips in the summer. And you have more opportunities to work on your physical health, which pairs nicely with working on your mental health. And I say all this to remind you that one of the major goals of sobriety is to make your life so good that you don't want to escape it. I'll say that one again. One of the major goals of sobriety is to make your life so good that you don't want to escape it. So when we ask the question of how do I survive my first sober summer, well, you're in luck. Let's go over 5 helpful tips. Tip number 1 for surviving a summer sober is non-alcoholic drinks. We actually did an episode on this 2 weeks ago. And just like we talked about a minute ago, when I was a kid, there were way less options. And that also includes non-alcoholic beers. There were like 3 non-alcoholic beers 35 years ago. Now there's tons of options and they're all great. If you like Corona, you can get Corona alcohol free. If you like Guinness on a hot day, you can get a pack of Guinness 00. Budweiser has an alcohol-free beer. Heineken has a 00. And so many top breweries also have great non-alcoholic selections, even IPAs. I know, yuck. And since most of these brands are on board, drinking non-alcoholic beer really isn't taboo anymore. Now, speaking of not being taboo, tip number 2 for surviving summer sober is sober summer equals self-improvement summer. Now, show of hands, who wants better physical health? Who wants better mental health? Who could be eating a little bit better, exercising more, and just working on being a better person? All of us, right? And because more people are wise to the fact that we could all be doing a better job of taking care of ourselves, it should be no surprise when you turn down a drink this summer at a wedding or at that festival or at the county fair or at that concert or whatever else, because it's cool to prioritize your health. It's cool to show up for yourself and for your family, to not get drunk, to not cause a scene, to not have the cops show up, again. And it's definitely cool on a hot day to turn down an alcoholic beverage because you have better things to do and you just don't like how alcohol makes you feel anymore. And speaking of how alcohol makes you feel, what about those alcohol cravings? Tip number 3 for surviving summer sober is use the 15-minute rule for alcohol cravings. Studies show that while we're getting sober, alcohol cravings last for about 15 minutes, give or take. So here's what we do the next time that we get an alcohol craving. First, acknowledge the craving and simply say time out. Now open up the timer on your phone and set a timer for 15 minutes. Now the next step is the most important part because you're gonna do something, anything that you can think of that can be considered good for you now or good for you in the future. This is a team building exercise between your current self and your future self. Remember, be on the same team. Don't cheat on your future self with your past self that you no longer wish to be. So set the timer for 15 minutes, say time out, and do anything that you would consider an investment of your time, not a waste of your time. And I always find that doing things that use your whole body actually works best. So sitting down and watching the TV, not a good idea. Sitting down and scrolling through social media is also not a good idea. Now watching one of our videos totally counts. I always like to say that a video a day keeps the cravings away. But it doesn't matter what you do, just make it productive. Now if you need some ideas, here's a quick list of things to do. You could go outside and water the garden, you could mow the lawn, you could clean up the back patio or the garage, you could clean out your car, you could take out the trash, you could wash the dishes or put away the dishes. You could take the dog for a walk. You could take yourself for a walk, go for a bike ride. You could pack your lunch for tomorrow or maybe make your breakfast smoothie right now. You could call someone on the phone or send somebody a text message, or you could send God a DM. And I'm sure that some of your summer clothes are probably dirty, so maybe you can do some laundry, right? Maybe you could take the money that you saved from last week's sobriety and buy yourself something nice. I'm sure there's plenty of junk photos or junk videos that you could probably delete from your phone, right? Now, I always find that exercise works best for beating alcohol cravings because when I start exercising, the last thing I want is alcohol. And if you're having trouble deciding if something is worth doing, ask yourself this simple question. Does it need to be done eventually? And if the answer is yes, then do it. And just like how you probably forgot what I'm even talking about, the 15-minute rule, once you start getting busy, that timer will eventually go off. And you'll have forgotten that you were just having a craving, and that's the whole point. So you'll start to better understand that cravings are just an unhealthy distraction, and you need a healthy distraction to counter the unhealthy distraction. And that way too, you'll better understand if your cravings are only lasting for like 3 minutes or for maybe 10 minutes or closer to the whole 15 minutes. All right, tip number 4 for surviving summer sober is know your drinking triggers. If every 4th of July you go out on Don's boat and drink until the 5th of July, then consider making different plans. In the book Atomic Habits, the author talks about the 4 laws for breaking a bad habit. Number 1, make it invisible. Number 2, make it unattractive. Number 3, make it difficult. And number 4, make it unsatisfying. So in the example of Don's boat, we can achieve 2 of these goals by making alternative plans, which in turn makes getting on the boat difficult because we won't be there, and essentially makes the boat invisible because we'll be far away. Here's another example. If the route that you take home from work has the bar that you always frequent for happy hour, go a different way. Make it invisible. And if you're going to a movie to maybe escape the summer heat, and the theater that you always go to has a bar in it, then maybe go to a different theater or just bring enough cash to just watch the movie. Make it difficult. Whatever your example is, know your triggers and plan accordingly. And remember that the 4 laws for creating good habits are the opposite of the 4 laws for breaking a bad habit. And those include make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. It's your job to set up your future self for success. In other words, do yourself the favor. Remember what we said earlier? Make your life so good that you don't want to escape it. And lastly, tip number 5 for surviving summer sober is practice saying no. Now, this seems like the easiest thing to do, but you can't go around mumbling, no, 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 like a crazy person. What I mean is, before you go to these events, think about how you're going to say no. So what are you going to say when somebody offers you a drink? The whole point is to not be caught off guard, especially in early sobriety. And before you get yourself all worked up trying to come up with the most creative way to say no, remember that honesty is always the best policy. On top of that, it shows emotional maturity when you take accountability for your own actions. If you're not drinking because you're overweight and drinking makes you want 2 Baconators and a large fry, say so. I make poor decisions when I'm drinking. Here's another example. If lately you just don't know what it is, but drinking just makes you more angry and depressed, it's okay to say that I just don't like the way that alcohol makes me feel when I drink anymore. Another reason is you might legit have high blood pressure, and you probably know by now from watching this channel that most people report lowering their blood pressure just from getting sober. And some people even report coming off of their blood pressure medications. So maybe you can comfortably and honestly say, my blood pressure's been kind of high and drinking's been making it worse, so I'm cutting out alcohol until my doctor says it's okay. That's pretty reasonable, right? So, what's your strategy for staying sober this summer? Do you have any big plans? Are you going on vacation? Are you going to any weddings? Are you going to too many weddings? What about your fitness goals? Are you trying to lose some weight? Are you thinking about signing up for a 5K race or maybe a 10K race? Tell us what your thoughts are by leaving us a comment in the comment section down below. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to show your support for everybody here in this sobriety community by giving this video a thumbs up. But if you're ready to binge watch another one of our helpful videos, click on the link in the top corner of the screen. And with that, I want to wish you good luck on your self-improvement journey, and I will see you in the next video. If you want to see another one of our videos, click here.